All right, next Tuesday, you are going to vote on a wide variety of issues. One is Amendment 13, which is the ban on wagering on dog racing. Greyhound racing is now practiced in only 6 states. Out of the 17 tracks left in the U.S., 11 of them are in Florida. Thousands of jobs also in jeopardy. But both sides have very strong opinions. It's actually getting pretty ugly. So I wanted to dig a little deeper and see what a yes or no vote means to Florida, the industry, and the dogs. A Florida tradition for almost 100 years. They run on average for 31 seconds, once or twice a week. Up to speeds of 40 miles per hour. They're fast, and sometimes they get hurt. And that's why animal rights activists push to get the ban on greyhound racing on the ballot. Proponents like Attorney General Pam Bondi helped.
The National Humane Society and, in fact, the entire country are watching what we're doing. They are watching us.
Why are people so worked up about Amendment 13? I went to Sanford Orlando Kennel Club, which is open year-round, to see for myself. I was told beforehand they're like a bunch of puppies, big puppies. Hey, oh!
They've already been out earlier this morning.
Yeah.
And then we feed them, and then we bring them back out, and this is their, after feeding, they get to run around and be dogs. AJ
Grant is a kennel owner and trainer who's worked with racing greyhounds for about 30 years. He says the day starts around 4:30 in the morning when trainers come in and let the dogs out until 7. And while they're out, trainers clean out their beds.
If there's a little bit of soreness in them, then, we don't run them.
How do you know they're sore?
It's just, 30 years, they'll get sore back here.
These are the schooling races early in the morning here at the track. Trainers get to look at these young pups trying out the racetrack, some of them for the first time. Although these animals are born to run, not all of them are born to race. And these trainers say they're not forced to race either.
They're not forced to race in any stretch of the imagination, not at all. If they don't want to run, they're not going to run. And if we see that, then we call the adoption agencies and they come pick them up.
Kennels usually get the puppies when they're 16 to 18 months old and race them until they're about 4 years old.
If they were mistreated in any way, they wouldn't come near you. I mean, they wouldn't come up to you, friendly and wagging their tails.
It's signs like this that lead up to the Sanford Orlando Kennel Club. And just as passionate as people are like AJ Grant about voting no on Amendment 13, there is just as passionate people that want you to vote yes.
Dog racing is extremely cruel and inhumane. These dogs spend 20 to 23 hours per day in small stacked metal cages. Every time they go out on the track, they risk injury and potentially death. And a dog dies on a Florida track every 3 days.
Sharon Deming, a Fort Myers district leader for the Humane Society, has been busy at high traffic areas like the flea market, handing out yes on Amendment 13 leaflets.
I've not been to them. I've seen pictures. I've seen video.
We posed her claims, along with other Amendment 13 supporters, to the opposition.
They say their average that they've picked up on is 1 every 3 days. So we can say roughly 100 greyhounds died in Florida last year. That's in a 10,000 dog population. How many dogs died in the humane societies in Florida for getting sick or getting hurt or getting in a dog fight? Our numbers are way better than the general population, number one. Number two, we only get paid if our dogs run well. Common sense tells you we have to feed them right, they have to be happy, they have to be healthy, and they have to be conditioned. 23 hours a day in a crate eating rotten meat and being abused is not going to make me any money.
There have been instances of dogs testing positive for cocaine, opioids, different drugs.
On their website, the Committee to Protect Dogs claims over the past decade there have been over 400 greyhound drug positives at Florida tracks, including 73 positives for cocaine. However, in an article for FloridaPolitics.com, the president of Greyhound Adopters for Racing and a vet herself writes, "We need to put these numbers in context," saying the frequency turns out to be 1/10 of 1%. and that it's actually over 10 times more frequent in horse racing.
In a regular animal shelter or dog kennel, they're not expected to run. They're not expected to earn their keep.
They want to go. Yeah, are we forcing them to run? I get a laugh when they say that.
I have nothing to hide, and I'm willing to show the public that. We've invested a lot of money in upgrading track facilities and making our surface safe. We work with local adoption groups. We adopt out 600 dogs a year. I mean, everything's positive. There's no negative, I could say, that's happening here. The dogs are loved and cared for. They love the chase, and that's why we're open about it.
State inspectors check tracks 2 to 3 times a week. According to state records, 26 various citations have been reported since the beginning of the year. Gray 2K does report Florida does not publicly report Greyhound injuries at tracks. However, Seminole County started tracking injuries in May of 2017. Since then, 87 Greyhound injuries have been reported. Now, if Amendment 13 passes, tracks will have until 2020 to phase out commercial dog racing. It does need 60% to pass. And the Florida Greyhound Association also says the other thing to understand here is that if dog racing is banned, you can actually still bet on dog races that are taking place outside our state from the very track that banned them, because pari-mutuel facilities will still be able to operate their card rooms and slot machines.